Hi, welcome to Zgadgetreview. There is a new report by a company called UBI Research that states that Mini LED will become the market leader over OLED. Now they have this chart that shows what the trends are or are going to be when it comes to OLED versus Mini LED. So of course in 2021, the OLED market is going to be 64.2% versus 35.8. Then they say 22 is going to go 56.8 OLED, 43.2 mini LED. In 23, it's going to be 52.7, 47.3, 24, 45.9, 54.1. And then by 2025, the OLED market is going to shrink to 42% versus 57% market share by mini LED. Now, what they're explaining, of course, makes sense. So LED TVs are cheaper to make than OLED TVs, which is why we have more LCD LED TVs in the market than OLED TVs. Not only that, but we have more manufacturers of LCD LED TVs than OLED TVs or screens. It makes sense that mini LED TVs, which are technically a new technology, and I say new technology because TCL has been making mini LED TVs for the past 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Right now, these TVs are going to come out at a premium because they are new technology. And now that we have LG and Samsung jumping into the mini LED train, means that there's going to be more competition to make these TVs. So there's going to be more competition between TCL, LG, and Samsung. The more competition there is, as we know, the more aggressive pricing comes and the cheaper TVs end up being to the consumer in order to be able to attract those consumers. Not only that, but obviously as technology evolves, it becomes cheaper to make. When technology is cheaper to make, then it's cheaper to sell. So it makes sense that in a way their prediction is mini LEDs will take over OLED, because that's one side of the story. Because the other side of the story here is that LG is been making OLED TVs for a while now, to the point that this year they're going to be coming out with their LG A1 series, which is based on the calculations that we made on the video here or in the description section. The TV shouldn't be super expensive and it should be a good price for people to buy an OLED TV for the first time. Again, manufacturer prices to go down, TVs are sold for less. In this case, LG has been making OLED TVs for a long time. They are in a place where they can sell you an OLED TV for what I think is going to be $1,200 at 55 inches, which is a really, really good price for an OLED TV. Do I think the mini LED is going to take over OLED? Obviously here, they're just taking into consideration the market ratio between OLED and mini LED. Mini LED, of course, is going to be less than OLED because there's only one company that has been making mini LED TVs, and that's TCL. Of course, when you have the bigger companies like LG and Samsung making mini LED TVs who can make more volume of TVs, that ratio is going to be, less for OLED and more for mini LED TVs. It only makes sense. The way this article is kind of worded is like, mini LED TVs are going to be the cheapest things in the market, and OLED TVs will continue being these super expensive, luxurious items, which I don't think is going to be the case, because as we've seen CES this year, OLED technology is advancing. And by them advancing OLED technology, it can compete better with LEDs and mini LEDs. And they can also use the new technology, like in this case, the Evo, on higher tiered OLED TVs and leave the old OLED technology in cheaper, lower, more competitive price-wise TVs. There's this thing that I don't think is like completely 100% being taken into consideration. Like what happens with the new technologies being developed within OLEDs versus old technology in OLEDs compared to mini LEDs. The other thing that we're not talking about here is micro LEDs. Micro LEDs, I know it's a new technology, just kind of started going in the market, but in 4 years from now, right? Because they said 2025. So 4 years from now, micro LED TVs are going to be a lot cheaper than they are today. Are they going to be mini LED prices? Hell no. But they're probably going to be closer to what an OLED TV price is. So then how do you divide the market when it comes to micro LED and OLED and mini LEDs? Like, how do they come into place? Like there's a lot of more in this study that could be done to give us a better picture of what's going to happen. Do I disagree that mini LEDs are going to sell more than OLEDs as years go on? No. That's the case right now with LED TVs. Companies sell more LED TVs than OLED TVs. And one reason for that is price. You can buy an LED TV for $600. You cannot buy an OLED TV for $600. There's no way. So the other thing that they mention on this article and why mini LEDs are going to be so competitive with OLEDs and eventually take over OLEDs is that mini LED TVs sold this year are going to range between 1,000 and 3,000 dimming zones on the upcoming TVs. But the thing is that we haven't heard that from anyone except LG. And LG hasn't really said either how many dimming zones there are going to be on their TVs. LG's press release says when paired with up to 2,500 dimming zones and advanced local dimming zones, the end result is better contrast with more dynamic HDR and improved color accuracy over the company's prior LCD sets. Here they say up to 2,500 local dimming zones. And that amount of dimming zones is going to be for their biggest screen. And that's going to be for their 86-inch TVs. So 2,500 local dimming zones for an 86-inch screen, then we go down from there. The fact that they are saying that all TVs, like it's a general statement, all TVs will be coming out with between 1,000 and 3,000 local dimming zones when it comes to mini LED. It's not true because we haven't heard again. TCL hasn't said how many local dimming zones their TVs are going to have. Samsung hasn't said that either. LG has only said up to 2,500. There's no specification from any of these manufacturers on how many local dimming zones these TVs are going to have. Will they be able to do more local dimming zones, like 1,000 to 3,000 as the years go on? Probably, but I don't know if it's going to be something that's going to happen right now. TCL's mini LED TVs from last year didn't have, or from 2019, didn't have 1,000 local dimming zones. I think they topped at like between 850 and 900. So it's not, like this study doesn't really give us a picture, because it will be great if they said, hey, Samsung is going to have this many local dimming zones in these TVs and LG here and TCL here. But clearly they don't have that information. But it's just interesting to see that we are already talking about the dominance of mini LED TVs in the market when the TVs haven't even been out in the market. And then the assumption is also that because you're going to have a mini LED TV, the picture is going to be a lot better and it's going to be like, oh my God, this is going to be really close to OLED. But no, as we know, a TVs, LEDs, and parts are only a portion of the whole TV. Right? As I said before, it depends on software and the processor. And in order to have a TV to control so many zones in so many different ways, it's not the easiest thing to do. Like, you got to think about it. It's a lot of little light bulbs in that screen. And those little light bulbs change the intensity of light. And obviously, the more zones that you have in a screen, the more processing power you need, better software, I guess, to control those lights and to tell those lights when to turn on, when to turn off, when to dim, and all that. Just think about if you're going from black to white, and if it's not like immediately white where everything turns on white, if it's a gradient, right? If it goes from black and slowly starts going to white, all that needs to tell each little individual light bulb is your turn to turn on. And if you're turning on, how quickly should you turn on and how slowly should you turn off, right? So you don't go from on and off. You go, right? Do you get it? Do you understand? Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. It's not this panacea that, mini LED TVs are going to be so great, because you don't know what these TVs are going to look like until they're in front of you and you can actually see them and see what the manufacturer did with the processing power of that TV and how great that TV can manage all those mini LEDs. It's premature to say that consumers are going to go to mini LEDs over OLEDs. In my opinion, OLEDs will continue being the superior technology until micro LEDs become more affordable and there can be a comparison between OLED and micro LEDs. Mini LEDs to me are going to continue being a step above regular LEDs. And what I think is going to happen is eventually LED TVs will just disappear and mini LED TVs will become the new technology replacing LEDs. It just makes sense. It makes sense that companies will put their resources into making mini LED TVs, which are going to give you a better picture, which you can charge more money for, versus LED technology, which technically is a pretty old technology up to this point. All right, what do you think? Are you excited about mini LED TVs? Do you think the mini LED TVs will be better, will take over OLED TVs? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, it really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos, and thank you very much for watching.